Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Jonathan Barratt of Probis Securities. Jonathan, hi, good to have you. And what a complete sell-off is what we are witnessing in case of gold and silver, both these commodities, with gold down 1.5% on week and silver fell 5% in the previous week there. We do understand that the dollar index is trading at a 7-week highs, and that definitely is putting pressure on the markets. But the kind of sell-off that we've seen in both of these precious metal prices, is there a buying opportunity at all, or the kind of scenario that we are in, would you suggest further declines?
Oh, look, you know what? Has been an aggressive move. There's no doubt about it. A lot of it is all about US dollar. We still have those inflationary feelers out there, which I think will help gold sort of stay up from these prices. And I really don't like the US dollar trading too much stronger from here. So I've got to be a cautious buy for both of them, particularly silver, because silver has been shellacked. There's no doubt about it. But I do think that we still have this inflationary feel. That PCE index came out, you know, the recessionary, the more unstable, financial stability starting to come through. So, yeah, I tend to think that once we get that exhaustive move to the downside, the gold and silver, you should slowly start to come into it again.
But before that, do you see gold prices below, breaking below $1,800? Do you see 20.5 giveaway in silver? Where are you looking at supports now?
I think you're right on it. I think when you look at it, I had a target around about that 1810, 1800. I didn't really want to see it go below that level because that is an important level for support. I get a sense that the market does want to take it through that area. But if I get an aggressive move back to the top side, which cements that low in place, then I'd be comfortably starting to buy, knowing that I have a stop. But we have seen that continual decline. It has been on the back of numbers. It has been on the back of the US dollar strength. So I would actually like to see an exhaustive move to the downside before I actually come in. And a similar level there on silver. I think we are right at those points there, which we really want to see hold, just so we can continue with this bull phase, which we've all looked at over the last 6 to 8 months.
Jonathan, history has shown that gold and silver prices do decline when you see the rate hikes begin, and by the time we are at the peak as well. But once it starts going down is when the gold and silver prices start to raise. We still are looking at inflation concerns. We still are looking at Fed winding down its purchase book from 9 trillion to 8.35 is the last number that I saw there. So by the end of this year, what would you be watching out for? What is your sense on where the gold silver will end this year now?
Look, I'm still in that phase where I think gold will continue to trade higher. There's still a lot of buyers out there, particularly the central banks, and they're continuing to accumulate a lot of gold. And I think as we still maintain concerns, in the Middle East, in the Ukraine, with Russia, I think that we still have to have that element of movement towards gold. I think gold, or I continue to think that gold will retest those highs up around that 1950. It wasn't only about a couple of weeks ago that we suggested that it could get back to those levels. It came very close to 1950 and then came right off it. So I would like to get a test to the highs again. Let's see how it travels. But at the moment, certainly the bears are having their way.
Jonathan, a word on the base metals as well, because while we still are looking at weaker data from US and Europe rather, US has been very strong data, but the China reopening trade perhaps has already panned out now with the kind of sell-off that we saw in the month of Feb after that very strong gain for Jan. How is March looking to you?
Oh, look, you know what? I think when we do see that China story, when we look at, the likes of copper, when we look at aluminium, I tend to like copper, and I have liked copper for such a long time. It has had a good move. I still recommend it to buy on dip. We are going to have shortages, particularly when China sort of starts to reopen. And also note that we're coming out of winter. So I would expect as we come into, that spring and that summer period, if we get around some of the air pollution issues, but we will generally see more demand come to the market. We have seen that in iron ore as well, but at the moment we're just seeing a bit of correction. But as I suggested, I think copper still remains a standout for 2023, because I do think we're going to come into some major shortages there in supply. And whilst we'll see China continue to be supported by government intervention and all those other things, I think we'll still be in short supply. So still like copper on a dip if you do get that, but looking for good things in 2023.
Okay, all right, Manisha as well as Jonathan, always a pleasure hearing your views. Thank you very much for joining in and taking us through the commodities outlook. We need to take a short break, but we'll get you more on the markets full tilt back on equities once we're back. Stay tuned.